Staying with Gen AI, new startups in AI are giving empty office spaces in San Francisco a new lease on life for a real estate scene that has been described as being in a doom loop. Kate, Rooney, how many times have we heard doom loop in the last few years, do you think? Don't mention it in your entire segment.
Hundreds. Hundreds. But now we're in the boom loop, if you believe some of these AI startups. AI is really at the center of that narrative. But startups here, and AI startups in particular, have been this beacon of hope, really, in commercial real estate in San Francisco. These buzzy, well-funded startups like OpenAI are looking for more office space to keep up with their growth. AI companies accounted for about a third of total office deals in San Francisco last year. That's according to Avison Young, and it's expected to increase this year. Tech companies account for about half of tenants in San Francisco offices. And in many cases, these AI startups are subleasing office space from what you might think of as the old guard of tech, or maybe sort of the millennial cohort of tech companies. Uber, Airbnb, Slack, for example, who were ambitious on their office footprints before the pandemic. Anthropic, one of those buzzy AI names, is subleasing Slack's headquarters. You got Scale AI renting space from Airbnb. And then Sierra has a building in Soma, close to where we are now, also home to Apple. OpenAI has 500,000 square feet it's now subleasing from Uber. This land grab is really a result of some of the rapid hiring for these Gen AI companies. And then tech for the last decade, it's really been concentrated on Market Street. That has been the hub. No longer the case, though. Elon Musk's X, or formerly Twitter, making that clear this week, shutting down its headquarters on Market Street. And these newer AI companies, they now want to be in what's sort of considered the cool part of town. That is not Market Street at this point. It is south of the city. The Mission and Mission Bay have been the epicenter of AI demand.
A lot of the companies, when we first talk to them that are AI companies, they say we want to be by OpenAI. And we kind of have to have the tough conversation that it's really hard to be down there because maybe you're 10 people now, but what's really down in that market is for something that is nearly 500,000 people. They're big buildings and big floor plates. So the OpenAI effect is real.
The city does still lead the nation in office vacancy. It's above 34% at this point, but AI demand is expected to continue. It could at least improve some of those bleak statistics, Dee.
Kate, you did a good job earlier answering Wilf's question of whether we at One Market were in the cool part of town. You kind of said a little. I'd say yes.
Kinda. Yeah, we're technically on Market Street.
Exactly. The cool part of Market Street. Let me ask you, though, It just doesn't feel like this is enough. I mean, it's a great trend, and a lot of technology is coming back. A lot of founders are coming back to San Francisco saying this is where you have to develop generative AI. But we're seeing smaller workforces in general. I mean, even when you look at the mega caps from Amazon to Google to Meta, they're either decreasing the size of their workforces or keeping them flat. So how much is it actually helping here?
I think that's a great point. And some of the irony here is the technologies that these companies are building, these startups are building, may be one of the reasons that these larger tech companies don't need to hire to the same extent as they were a decade ago, for example. So I think there is a sense of irony there. And it's interesting, the replacement factor, I think, is big, where you have some of the older cohort I mentioned, Slack, Uber, Airbnb, they are subleasing. It's almost a replacement here. So AI companies moving into vacant office spaces, you're not seeing it show up in sort of the bottom line for commercial real estate here. They might be replacing those companies. It's going to take a lot more for that uptick, I think, in office,
right?
Not vacancy, the opposite, office participation. Is that what we're calling it? People being in the office.
I get what you're saying. And hopefully this all leads to more lunch spots for us in downtown San Francisco.
But I will say, it is the culture of AI companies and startups we go and visit. It's very much an in-person culture. Yeah. They want to be there. The CEOs are setting the tone. They say, you know, we're not mandating in office, but we're here 5 days a week.
They are.
And they want to compete.
Just not early mornings. They tend to go in a little bit later than us.
Yeah,
Kate
that's
Rooney,
when we're in the office, right?
Thank you very much for that.